Our world, a remarkable blue sphere from a distance, is facing a profound challenge. While water covers most of its surface, very little of it is fresh and available for us to drink and use. The global crisis of finding enough safe water, food and nutrition is one of the most significant hurdles humanity faces today. It is a quiet but persistent emergency that affects billions of people, touching every aspect of their lives, from their health to their hopes for the future. The delicate balance that has sustained life for millennia is now under immense strain, and we are beginning to see the deep fractures this pressure creates across communities and natural landscapes. It is a problem that grows more urgent with each passing day. Water scarcity is the heart of this issue. It means there is simply not enough water to meet the needs of all the people, farms and industries in a region. This scarcity comes in two forms. The first is physical scarcity, where a place genuinely lacks sufficient water sources, like in deserts or arid lands where rivers are few and rainfall is rare. The second, and often more complex, is economic scarcity. This happens when a country has water, but it lacks the necessary infrastructure, the pipes, the pumps, the treatment plants, to bring clean water safely to its people. In these places, water may be nearby, but poverty and poor management keep it just out of reach for millions. Several powerful forces are making this crisis worse. Our planet's climate is changing, leading to more extreme weather. Long droughts dry up rivers and wells, while powerful floods can contaminate the clean water that remains. At the same time, our human population continues to grow, placing ever-increasing demands on this finite resource. In many parts of the world, conflict and wars destroy vital water systems, forcing people to flee their homes and search for safety and sustenance. Furthermore, pollution from factories and farms, along with wasteful agricultural practices, contaminates precious groundwater and rivers, making them unsafe for any form of life. The consequences of this growing water deficit are far-reaching, extending deep into the natural world and human society. When water sources dwindle, ecosystems suffer, wetlands that act as natural filters disappear, and the rich biodiversity that depends on them vanishes. For people, the daily struggle for water is exhausting. It is a burden that falls heavily on women and children, who often must walk for many hours each day just to collect water that might not even be clean. This time-consuming task prevents them from going to school or earning an income, trapping families in a cycle of poverty and hardship that is incredibly difficult to break. The connection between water and food is undeniable. One cannot exist without the other. Agriculture is the single largest user of fresh water around the globe, consuming about 70% of all water withdrawn from rivers, lakes, and underground sources. When water becomes scarce, the first and most immediate impact is on the fields where our food is grown. Farmers find themselves unable to irrigate their crops, and the plants wither and die under the harsh sun. The land becomes less productive, and harvests shrink dramatically. This direct link means that a water crisis almost inevitably becomes a food crisis, creating a devastating chain reaction. This is how water scarcity directly leads to food insecurity. Food insecurity is a state where people do not have reliable access to a sufficient quantity of affordable, nutritious food. It is a condition born of uncertainty. Families may not know where their next meal will come from, or they may have to make difficult choices, often settling for cheaper, less nutritious food just to survive. When a drought hits, farmers not only lose their crops for that season, but they may also lose their livestock, which depend on the same water sources. This loss of food and income pushes entire communities to the very edge of survival, making every day a struggle. The problem is made worse by the way we have traditionally farmed. Some irrigation methods are incredibly wasteful, spraying vast amounts of water into the air where much of it evaporates before ever reaching the plant roots. The overuse of chemical fertilizers and pesticides can also pollute the water that remains, making it unsuitable for future use. These inefficient practices deplete our precious water resources at an alarming rate, making our food systems more vulnerable to shocks like drought or heat waves. We are, in many ways, borrowing from our future to feed our present, and the time to repay that debt is fast approaching. The cycle is a vicious one. As water becomes scarcer, food becomes more expensive and harder to grow. This leads to greater food insecurity, which in turn puts more pressure on already strained communities. People may be forced to abandon their farms and migrate to overcrowded cities in search of work and sustenance, placing new demands on urban resources. This movement can lead to social instability and conflict over what little is left. The intricate web connecting water, food, and human society begins to unravel, threatening the stability of entire regions and creating challenges that cross all borders. The lack of safe water and sufficient food has a profound and devastating impact on human health, particularly for the most vulnerable. When people are forced to drink contaminated water, they are exposed to a host of dangerous waterborne diseases like cholera, typhoid, and dysentery. These illnesses are a major cause of death, especially among young children whose immune systems are not yet strong enough to fight off such infections. The simple act of getting a drink of water becomes a gamble with life itself. This constant threat of sickness keeps communities trapped in a state of perpetual crisis, unable to focus on education, development, or building a better future. Beyond immediate sickness, the crisis leads to malnutrition, a condition that stunts both bodies and minds. Malnutrition is not just about a lack of food, it's about a lack of the right food, the vitamins and minerals necessary for healthy growth. When food is scarce, people may survive on a diet of staple grains that fill their stomachs but do not provide essential nutrients. This hidden hunger can have lifelong consequences. It impairs brain development in children, leading to learning difficulties and reduced potential. It weakens the body's ability to fight off illness, making even common colds more dangerous and recovery much slower. The burden of this crisis falls disproportionately on women and children. It is often the girls who are pulled out of school to help their mothers fetch water or work to earn money for food. This robs them of their education and their chance for a brighter future, perpetuating a cycle of gender inequality and poverty. Pregnant and nursing mothers who are malnourished are more likely to have babies with low birth weights, passing on the disadvantages to the next generation before it even has a chance. The silent struggle for water and food shapes destinies, limiting human potential on a vast and tragic scale. Ultimately, this crisis affects the well-being of entire societies. A population weakened by hunger and disease cannot be productive. Economic development slows to a crawl when a large portion of the workforce is too sick or too weak to contribute. The constant stress of worrying about basic survival erodes social cohesion and can fuel desperation and conflict. A healthy, well-fed, and well-hydrated population is the foundation of any stable and prosperous nation. By failing to address the water and food crisis, we are not just allowing individual suffering, we are undermining the very fabric of our global community. We stand at a critical juncture. The challenges of water scarcity and food insecurity are immense, but they are not insurmountable. The solutions are within our grasp, but they require a united effort that transcends borders, politics, and self-interest. We must recognize that a healthy planet is the foundation for healthy people. Protecting our rivers, restoring our wetlands, and adopting smarter, more sustainable ways of farming are not just environmental goals, they are essential for human survival. It is a responsibility we all share, as what we do in one part of the world can affect communities thousands of miles away. At ESDO USA, we believe in the power of collective action. We see firsthand how simple, community-led solutions can make a world of difference. From installing rainwater harvesting systems to teaching farmers water-wise agricultural techniques, we work to empower people to build resilience from the ground up. We know that technology and innovation have a role to play, but true, lasting change comes when local communities are given the knowledge and the tools to manage their own resources sustainably. This is not about charity, it is about partnership and restoring dignity. The path forward requires us to think differently. We must view water as the precious, finite resource it is, and manage it with care and foresight. This means investing in infrastructure to bring clean water to all, reducing pollution from our cities and farms, and promoting policies that encourage water conservation in every sector of society. It demands that we build food systems that are not only productive but also sustainable and equitable, ensuring that nutritious food reaches every table. This transformation is not a choice but a necessity for our shared future on this remarkable planet. As the president of ESDO USA, I urge you to join us. This is a defining moment for our generation. The future of our planet and the well-being of all its inhabitants depend on the actions we take today. Let us work together, governments, organizations, communities, and individuals, with a shared sense of urgency and a common purpose. Let us forge a future where every child has clean water to drink, every family has enough food to eat, and every person has the chance to thrive. The time for complacency is over. The time for unified, determined action is